Okay, so today's topic, right? We have talked about a lot of different terminology in functions. Today we'll talk about one of the very important concept, which is called as callback, callback function. Okay, now before understanding callback, right? Let me take a very a use case, right? Let me take a use case, and I would like to explain this from that concept. Okay, use case is, let's say you have a e-commerce website. Okay, you have a e-commerce website, and what we want to do is, let's say the flow of the things are, you will first let's say the first thing you will do is you will search the item. Okay, you will search the item. Okay, search the item, and as part of this, right, once you search the item, so this is like the operation which you do, and the output of this operation is you get the item ID. Okay, let's say, okay, you get the item ID, right? So this is your output. Okay, you get the item ID. Now, once you got the item ID, once you were able to search, what you want to do is you wanted to add the item to the cart. Okay, add item to the cart. Now, let's understand that once we do this, right, there is a there is a cart ID which gets generated for this cart, right? Okay, so let's say there's a cart ID. Okay, now the third operation is, let's say after adding to the cart, I want to buy the items, right? I want to check out. Sorry, let's say I want to check out the items, right? So I want to do the checkout on my cart. Okay, once I do this, what I get is I get, let's say, a checkout ID, right, as an output of this, which knows about, okay, these are the items and this is the amount which you have to pay, right? So, but again, just to keep things simple, I'm just generating an ID, right, in all the three operations. The last operation is, once you have the checkout ID, now you can use the checkout ID to make the payment. So now you will make the payment, right? Make payment. Now, once you make the payment, right, so you will generate a payment ID now. Okay. Any question on this part? I mean, just assume, right? This is a use case, a workflow, right, which you have on the application, right? Let's say. I hope no questions, right, on this. This is very very basic, right? I mean, this is how e-commerce web application you can imagine at least. Okay. Now, so this is the workflow, right? So these steps are in sequence, right? Right. So first of all, this should happen. So this is like the first step which should happen. Then this is the second step. This is the third step, and this should be the fourth step, right? It could not be like this, right? That I can run the first step and then I can just directly go and run the fourth step, right? I hope everyone agrees this will not work, right? Because for the fourth step, right? To try to understand here, right? For this search the item, it needs an input. Let me add the input also, right? Input in this case was the item name, right? Let's say item name was the input. Okay. And once you search the item, the output of this function is item ID. Now this item ID becomes the input of this function, and the output is this, and then this becomes the input of this function, and this returns me this output, and this requires this input, and only then this output will come. So in a way, right, these are in sequence only, 1 2 3 4. And if I am say that, okay, can I just run step 1 and then directly step 4, it's not possible, right? You can't do that. You need all these in intermediate things also. Okay, understood the use case? Any doubt on this part?
No, sir.
No, right?
No.
Okay, great. So now let's try to see one thing. Okay, let's try to create small methods, right? Just a placeholder, right, for all these things, right? All the four things in our JavaScript code. We are talking. I with this example, right? I want to emphasize on the callback part. Jason, right. So let's do this. Let me first create a branch for today. There is nothing to commit. Git checkout minus d day 8. Okay, git checkout minus d day 8. Let me create a file for today. Day8.js. I will close this up. Let's start creating functions. Okay. Uh, I will create normal functions, right? Okay. I can create any functions I feel like, any type of functions which you have learned till now. But I will try to keep things simple, and I will only use, as of now, normal functions. So I will say this. So first function was what? Search the item, right? So let me say search item. Okay. And what is the input this needs? It needs a name, right? It needs the item name. Okay, great. And let's say, right, let me generate some dummy input, right? So I will say, let me first print here. I will say console.log searching. Okay, not double quotes, template strings, then searching item dollar item name, right? Okay, great. And then, right, what I will want to do is, as I also need to have an output of this item, right? So let's say I will return a dummy value. So I will say return, let's say 10. Okay, 10 over here, right? I'll return a 10. Okay, great. There's another function now which I want is, let's say function. Uh, what was the add to cart, right? So add to cart. So add to cart, right? As a function, what we needed the item ID, right? You can see we needed an item ID. So what I'll do is I'll take input from the user that provide me item ID. Once you provide me, then I can add that item to the cart, right? So I will again write a dummy code console.log adding item with the ID as item ID to the cart, right? To the cart. Okay. And once I do this, I will return, let's say a cart ID. Let me just write here. Let me do one thing. Let me write just say this way, right? Item 10, right? Okay. Let's say this. I'm saying item 10 and it's like a string value, let's say. And here I will say uh, cart and I will return what? Okay. Let's this I cart dollar and item ID. Okay. Let's say this, right? So I'll return this. So in this case, I will return what? I will get cart item 10, right? Cart item 10. I will get such kind of an ID, right? Let's say cart. Let me write here cart ID and this, right? So I'm receiving this. Okay. And here, let me just write here also. I'm receiving item ID as whatever item I'm receiving, right? So let me just say so that it is different, right, for every item. Let me say a dollar item name, and I will just prefix it with 10, right? Okay, let's say 10. Okay, great, right? So whatever item I search, it will add here, and then it will give me an item ID like this, right? The complete thing will tell receive. Okay, so this is the second function. Let me create one more function. Uh, check out the cart page, right? Check out cart, right? Check out cart. So here, what I need is I need an input of cart ID, right? Cart ID. Okay, so let me do one thing. I will create a function. I will dummy function console.log, and I will say uh, checking out checking out items placed in cart ID cart ID. Okay, okay, great. And I am saying return. Let's say checkout ID, and we'll say let's say cart ID here, right? And the last part is the last function is to make the payment. Make payment, and I'm going to say this is going to return me a checkout ID. Checkout ID, and I need to say console.log making payment for checkout ID as sorry, checkout ID. And I think that's it, right? And so this is the end of it, right? It will not return any, or let's say payment ID. Okay, I want to return a payment ID, so let's return that also. Return uh, payment ID. Payment ID ID generated is dollar checkout ID, something like this. Okay. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we have all the four methods. Okay, we have all the four methods. Okay, great. Now, let's say I want to call them in sequence, right? Let's say I want to call them in sequence, as I said, right? I want to create a workflow. I want to create a workflow which looks like this, one after another, right? So please tell me what should I do if I have to do this in over here. What should I do here if I want to make sure that they are called in sequence? Anyone?
You have to call them in sequence.
Okay, so what should I call
Yes.
first?
Search item.
Search item. Okay, let me get search item. Okay, I got the search item, and let's say I'll provide a value as let's say
iPhone.
let's say iPhone. Yes, iPhone is very needed, so let's have iPhone. Okay, so we have iPhone here. Now, okay, what should I do next?
Add to cart.
Add to cart. Okay, add to cart needs one input. So what should I provide here?
It will get the input from search item. So
So what should I do?
can you scroll it up a little bit? Yeah.
I think we can call the search item function directly.
Inside here, right? At line number 22, you mean?
Yeah.
What should I do is I should copy this and I should cut it and place it here only, right? Something like this.
But that function is returning a string, item ID, and all those things. It is not returning directly item name or item ID.
JavaScript does not care about data type, right? So whether it returns an ID or the name, I don't
so
care.
that will get assigned, means that whole string is get assigned as a item ID in the
Absolutely correct.
yeah.
Absolutely correct, right? And that would be reflected in the message when it gets printed, right?
Yes.
Okay, so okay, let me do one thing, right? Let me just keep this aside as of now and put it up only, right? Just so that it does not become a mess. So let me do one thing. I will call it as let's say item ID, okay, as a variable. I'm storing it here. Will it does it look fine? It will be much more readable, right?
Yes.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll copy this and place it here.
Right.
Okay, great. So what I will receive as an output from this function?
Cart
Cart
ID.
ID, right? So what I can do is again create a variable cart ID. Okay. Okay, great. Now what should I do next? I should
Check out cart.
check out cart. Okay, so let's say check out cart and
Cart ID.
cart ID, right? So let me remove this and I'll say cart ID and const and let's say checkout ID. Checkout ID, right? So this is another thing. Okay, great. Now the last part is we have to call, let's say const payment ID, we'll say, and we'll get what? Make payment and we'll provide what? Checkout ID to it.
Checkout ID.
Okay, great. Now, okay. So first of all, right? Okay, so this will work, right, everyone? Or it will not work?
We are not calling the function.
Okay, so
No, we are calling like search
Yeah,
item.
we are
So
calling it, but here in the return statement we are providing the string, so that exactly string get assigned to as item ID or cart ID or checkout ID. So on that basis we will get output.
yes, yes,
So it will get concatenated in every output, like
right,
in all three functions out.
right. So you understand the flow, right? That we are calling, we have created 4 separate methods, and we are making the call one by one, right, to each one of them. But the point here is the output of one, right? At least we need, I mean, the output of one function we need as an input to another function. Okay,
Yes.
that is what we needed, right? Okay, so let's run this way, right? And I'm sure we designed this thinking what we came, I mean, what learning we have had from the Java language or maybe some other language, right? This is how we do it over there, right? We create functions and we can call them like this, right? One after another, right? In sequence.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, let's run this and let's see what do we get. If we'll get something or not. You see, it did work. You said searching item iPhone, right? So first of all, this method worked. right? This got called, then this got called, right? iPhone to the card, and then this, and then making payment for this, right? These four things are done. Yes, sir, please ask your query.
So we are just assigning like search item, add to cart, and all this. We are assigning it to a variable,
Hmm.
which also turns into a function. But we are not calling like them. So like how they are printing.
Okay. Again, to your answer, right? The answer is next week. Okay, you will get the answer later. It has to do with the memory. It has to do with the execution context and the there is a very specific term for it. I'm forgetting, but you have to understand it has to do with the there is a concept of execution context when you run things right in JavaScript. Okay, and there are two things within that execution context also. There is something called memory block, and there is a code execution part over there, right? So everything which you see over here running, right, it will make sense once you understand that part. But as of now, just assume that this is working. Yes, Alex, please.
Yeah, Akhil, I didn't understand Harsh's question. Like we are calling each and every function. So where's the issue?
Okay, where are you calling the function?
Like add to cart at line number 22. So
Okay,
this is function calling, right?
but you are creating you're assigning it to a variable, right? Are you consuming that variable?
Yeah, in the next like 23, we are consuming it.
Okay, you have to start the chain, right? I mean, in normally in Java, first of all, we can't do something, right? Like, okay, what we can do is see. uh say- yes, Amrin, you also ask a query.
So, Akhil, is it a part of method chaining?
As of now, no, we are not talking about method chaining right now, because method chaining means that you do the chaining part, right? When you return this and all that, right? And then it works. But even to do that, you have to make an invocation deliberately, right? You
Yes.
can't create a variable and you expect that it will work. You can't do in Java something like this, right? Let's say you have a method of saying, let me create it. So let's say you have a method here. Can you do this actually? Tell me, public class, let's say hello, and you created a one method here, public void m1, and you did something here, right? Let's say you're printing something to it, and there is another method public void m2, and you will do something here, right? And now this is your one class. Let me create a class here only. So I'll create public static. You understand, right? Public static void main. So I'm not writing the complete thing. Public static void main, right? And here I will do what? If I have to call these, right? These are non-static method. This is a static method. So what I'll do is I'll rather be very happy to create the instance of the class and then use it. So I'll say
Yes.
hello h1 equals to new hello this, and then I will say what h1 dot. This is
Yeah.
what I do, right? I will say h1 dot m1,
Okay.
right? I'll do this, right? Let's say this is returning me a value. This
Okay.
returns me a value. Let's say return. Let's say it is not void. It is, let's say it's a string, or it's a int value, right? Let's say, and here I'm returning one. And
Okay.
if I do this, right, return 2 here, right? Let's say, and this is also int. So again, okay. So when we say h1 dot m1, what get executed? This gets executed if I write it in this way, right? If I write it in this way.
Yeah.
But tell me, okay, so again, when I do something like this, let me also think, right? Maybe I could be also wrong, but let's see. If you see this here, right? Int a equals to h1 dot m1, right? If I do this here, right? What happens here? I think this gets evaluated, right? This will get evaluated. This will get called,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It will get called. Okay.
Yeah.
It will get called. Okay. Okay. Then you're right. This will get called, and even when JavaScript, right? This works the same way. You're creating a variable and you're calling and you're assigning a output of a function to it. So once it gets read, right, it will be executed. Okay, fine. But what you might not be knowing is that the concept which I was telling, right, the execution context is like how that assignment of things happens, right? There is a sequence of steps there also. Okay,
Yes.
so that is something which is different from what you will see over here, right? Here,
Okay.
what happens to A is like again in Java also there is a concept of default value, right, which gets assigned to the variables. depending on what kind of data type you have, right? So even in this case, right, what happens here is you will not see the value directly in the case of JavaScript. You receive undefined first, and then things start working. But again, okay, but yeah, okay. It's coming back to the question which the point which Shailesh made. Shailesh, you are correct when you said that this is how things work, right? That you can assign a value to a variable. I mean, you can call a function and assign that value to a variable, and it will get called eventually, right? It's not something. I mean, I do not need some extra steps to do that. But what is different here, right, which we have not explained yet, is that how that process gets initiated and internally it works, right? Because calling a function and how the value is getting assigned back to this variable, right, is very different in JavaScript. But on the high level of it, it might look like similar to what is happening in Java, but it's not the same thing. Okay, so that is the point which is different, but eventually what you said is correct. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So okay, so that is what is happening here. So again, Harsh, right? Uh, you asked this question, right? That what is happening here? Will it call it? So the answer is yes, because once this item ID would like to be evaluated to know like what value does item ID have, right? It will make a call and it will be having a value. Okay. But again, to understand the complete context, let's wait for 1 or 2 days. And once I start discussing, you will get your answers over there. Okay. Okay, great. So, okay, what I was asking here, yeah, this part, right? So you can see, right? This is like you're calling the method, right? But again, try to understand who is calling these methods in sequence. Who has the responsibility now to call them in sequence? Who has the responsibility?
User only.
User, right? Like me, right? If I want
Yes.
to have this workflow, it becomes my responsibility to make sure that I'm calling in this way, right? And mind you, right, as of now, this is all synchronous. We did not even touch about asynchronous operations, right? When you hit an API, right? When you fire a API, do you know like in how much time will it return a value? It can vary, right? Sometimes it could be in 10 milliseconds, sometimes it could be 60 milliseconds, and sometimes it could take maybe let's say more than 2 or 3 seconds also, right? So you don't know when the response will come back, and it might take more than 1 minute also. Let's say if there is an issue on the server. So if let's say these are those kind of an APIs which are getting fired to the server, and you receive the input, right? So you don't know, right, that whether these operations are completed or not, right? Again, right? So that is what asynchronous nature is, right? So my point over here is that when it comes to right handling these kind of operations, right, where you don't want the user to have the control to, I mean, where you don't want the user, right, to define the workflow, whether you want the logic itself should take control of that part, then in that case, right, you have to do something different. This will not work. Okay, this will not work. This will not work if you will try to I mean, this will work very well in Java. Okay, because it in Java, right, the way it works is it everything works in a single thread, right? Everything works in a single thread by default, and there is no what we say, right, there is no like it does not skip the step until it gets completed. But in JavaScript, there is a different mechanism to handle all that, and that's why the behavior differs. Okay, okay. Coming back to the point, right? Coming to the original point, I know a lot of things might not be making sense. It will eventually make sense. Okay, so please with me. So what I'm trying to say is, what you should try to do here is, right. As of now, you see, right. What I have to do here is I have to myself take care that as a user, right. Let's say I'm user one, right. So what I did currently did was I made sure that first of all I call this search item. I collect the input from this call and then pass this to another method, right? Which is add item to cart. Item to cart, right? So this is now on me, right? I have to make sure that the workflow is called like this way, right? Add item to cart. And then there is checkout, and this input will be going to this method, right? Check out my cart, right? Let's say, and then make payment. So here, this time, this user is doing all the stuff. It's not the system which is controlling the workflow. It's the user who is doing all the part. Compare it to this part where the second user, right, does what? What second user will do is he will just call, let's say he will just initiate the workflow. He will say, okay, run workflow. Let's say, right? Something like this. He will say run the workflow. And what will happen is all the 4 steps will happen itself. How can you achieve all this, right? How can you achieve all this? Okay, so first of all, try to understand the use case here, right? The user one is taking all the steps by itself, making sure you receive the input, then you pass it to the right to the next function, that to the proper function, and then it works this way, right? The second approach is that user, right, does not want to do all of that. He just feels like, okay, I will just initiate one thing and everything should happen by itself. Okay, so this is the use case, right? Now coming back to our original question, first of all, what is a callback function, right? Right, okay, let's understand the literal meaning of callback. Let's say you made a call to your friend, right? So let's say I'm Akhil, right? I'm making a call to, let's say, Anant, right? I'm making a call to Anant, and Anant, right, did not pick the phone, right? He did not pick the phone, and he received it, right? But he said, okay, I'm not talking right now. What I will do is I will call back. I will make a call back, right, to the person who I should call, right? But as per my choice. So what you say in that term is like when you are discussing in this terminology, when you say I will make a call back, but so when you say this, right, you're trying to say that I will call you, but at a later time, right? At a later time. But what is that later, right? Is it like after 5 minutes? Is it like after 2 seconds? Is it like after 1 hour? No, right? You're not defining that part. It's up to you. When you will have the time, you will do that. Yes, Harsh.
Sorry to say that's interrupt, but can you sir please repeat again this callback thing? I
Okay,
didn't quite
okay.
understand.
Okay, let me do this. Let's understand this part. I'm trying to first of all understand the callback, right? In the layman term, right? Nothing related to JavaScript. We're just trying to understand what is a callback means, right? So just to explain that part, I'm taking an example of making calls, right? So let's say, okay, man, come on, right? So let's say here is Anand, right? Anand is here. Come on, let's go, right? Anand is here, right? Anand is here. And what Anand had is like I asked Anand, right, to call me. Okay, I asked Anand to call me. So this is me, right? This is me. Okay, and I asked Anand, okay, Anand, please call me, right? So Anand said, okay, I'll call you back. Okay, so I asked him to call me, right? Maybe someday, right? I asked him that whenever you do that task, right, call me. Okay, whenever you are working on, let's say, a very good presentation on AI, you call me, right? I can help you. So I asked Anand about it, right? I said this to Anand. So what Anand will do is now Anand said, okay, I'll call you back. Okay, I'll call you back. Now when Anand said this, right, I will call back, right? I will call back Akhil. Now what he's saying is that okay, I will call back Akhil as per my interest, right? And as per my will, right? As per my will. So when I'm saying all this, right, it means that there is a essence in that statement that I'm saying I will call Akhil. Definitely I'll call Akhil, or I may not call Akhil, right? I may call, I may not call Akhil, right? As per my will, but it will not be prompt, right? It is not that I start doing and I will call. No. If I want to call, I will call. If I don't feel like calling, I will not call, right? And if I make a call, then I will term that thing as that I made a call back to Akhil, right? So try to understand what I'm saying is there is a sense here in this discussion that someone like Anand will make a call back to Akhil, but at a later time, right? Whenever Anand feels like this is a good time. You're getting the point, right? Well, this is what callback is, right? In the literal meaning, right, everyone? I hope this makes sense, right? If we, let's say you received a call from a insurance agent and he asked, okay, sir, I want to talk to you. You said, okay, I'll make your call back. Okay, I'll call you back, right? You say this thing, right? But again, if you really need this, right, when you will call, you don't know, right? You're not specifying. If you want, you will call, right? And when you will make that call, it will call as a callback thing, right? Okay, I hope it makes sense, right? Now, so this is the literal meaning, right? Now we also learn, now coming back to our JavaScript world, right? We understood yesterday, right? Because of the higher order functions, there are 3 concepts which we learned yesterday. First of all, the variable part. Let's ignore that part that you can store a function to a variable, right? So I'm not talking about the first part. The third part was that you can return a function, right, from a function, right? So that is return a function. Okay, return function. It's the second part which I'm interested right now, which is passing a function as an argument. Now please tell me if I'm making this thing right, if I'm doing something like this, passing a function as an argument. So let's do this part. Yesterday, right, what we did was, if you take the example day 7, right? Okay, let me do one thing here. Let me just create it here again, just to make things simple. So this was it, right? So I'm saying function calculate. I'm taking two inputs, a comma b, and I'm saying fn here. And what I was doing was, I have one more function sum, right? And I received, let's say, I will say a and comma b, right? And I will say return a plus b, right? Something like this. Like let's say this is what we'll do. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say uh, I will make a call now, and I will say calculate, and I will provide 2 comma 3, and I will say sum, right? This is what we learned yesterday, right? That you can pass a function, right? A function as an argument to another function, right? This is what we learned yesterday, right? Everyone agree?
Yes.
Right.
Right? Now, see this here. If I run it this way, right? Am I calling the sum function as of now? What will be my output? Okay, let me, please tell me. If I run it now, this thing, right? Let me first comment out this part. If I run it this way, if I make the invocation like this, is really something happening here? Let me call this.
No.
Nothing is happening, right?
Yes.
Nothing is happening, right? Why did not made a call to sum?
Because we didn't call that function some function.
That is the essence of it, right? You did not made a call,
Right.
but as a user you were passing some, right? So what is happening here is, you were thinking that, okay, I created a sum function, right? And I'm passing that sum function, right, to, because this function needs that, right? But you passing an input, right? But does it mean that this is calling it? No, right? You are leaving the invocation of a sum function at the will of the calculate function. Now this calculate function, whenever it feels like that it can make a call, it will make a call. If it doesn't feel like, it will not even make a call. You understanding the point, right? Here I am not providing, I'm not calling back, right? But if I say this, it means, right, you received a function, and as per your interest, right, you made a call, right? So Shailesh, I'm coming to a point, right? I'm coming to a query. Just let me just finish this part. So what happens here is, what is a callback function now? Try to understand. Callback function are those functions which are passed as an input to another function, right? And the function who is receiving it, right, they will call that function as per their will. Okay. So what is the callback function here? This sum is a callback function here, because this is at the mercy of the calculate function, that when calculate function feels like I'll call, they will call, right? Okay. So here, who is the callback function? Sum.
Some.
Okay. Sum is a callback function. And why is sum is a callback function? Because you're passing that function as an input, like an argument, right, to another function. And now since you're doing it, right, it is up to this function. Whenever this function feels like, they will make a call. If they don't feel like, they will not make a call. Okay. This is all about callback functions. Now, Shailesh, please ask your query.
Uh, yeah, Akhil, in the initial part, when you said like the sum is not getting called, how will we get to know when we are not printing anything?
When you're not printing anything, right? Okay. Okay. Let's say, let's run this. Sum is getting called. Now you will get to know, right?
Right, right.
Let me just comment this out and run this. Do you see any output? No, right?
Yeah,
So it means it is not called, right?
right.
Okay.
And once you uncomment it, like line 34.
And this will be, let me clear this out and run this. Sum is getting called, right?
Yeah. So again, like the line you said that the sum is at the mercy of calculate function, whether calculate wants to call sum or not. Then like, what is the mercy? I think every time the sum will be getting called.
No, right? No, right? You can understand, right? Okay, tell me, right? Imagine you are working in a team. You're working in a team of 4 or 5 people, right? And there is an application which you have to design. The manager distributed the work, right, among all 5 people, right? And what we have is they decide, okay, okay, Akhil, you will work on this reusable component. Okay, Shailesh, you will be working on this reusable component, right? And several others, right? So all of us, right, did some small modules. Now it's not that these are in silos, right? Those reusable modules or methods, right, are need to be consumed by each one of us, right? Let's say. So if we use the concept of callbacks, right, like this, right, passing it as a input to another function. So let's say you create a function on, let's say something, right? Let's say add item to cart, right? You are working on it, and I am working on checkout. Okay, let's say I'm working on checkout. So what I need an input of that cart ID, right? Cart ID. Okay, I need that input of cart ID.
Right.
So I need to do what? I need to make sure that I'm calling your function, right? So that I can receive the card ID. Okay.
Right.
So, but this is as per my will, right? If I made the call, right, then my logic will work, right? But if I feel like I don't need it, right, I will not even call it. So it's not that mandatory that I have to call it, right? It is up to me whether I'm making a call or not. Right? It's not mandatory that if you receive the function, okay, you have to make a call. No, right? You can accept 2 more functions here, right? Let's say function 2, function 3. Does it mean you have to call all 3 of them? No, right? As per your need, when whatever you feel like.
Yeah, but like at
Yeah.
line 43, so you were saying that at line 43 we can like pass some other function.
See, what I'm doing here, try to understand. If you see this, right? This is the first line function, right? The calculate part. This is the second function, right? What I'm doing is I'm somehow passing on this like this, right? Agree? I'm doing
Right,
something like this.
right.
Now, my calculate function is receiving it, right? But am I making use of that function as a calculate function? Let's say if I don't do this, am I making use of that function? No, right?
No.
And what is the use of the function? To call it, right? If you make a call, only then you can say you're making a use of that, right?
And currently we are not using A and B also at line 31.
Which is correct, but those are not functions; those are
Right,
variables, right?
right, right,
So,
right.
right. But
Yeah.
again, variables does not provide you a lot of capabilities. These are just variables, right? So it does not have like the superpower which you get from callbacks. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So again, functions are very important in JavaScript. I have been saying that. So we are talking in that context. Okay. I hope you got your answer right about the this part.
Yeah, I hope like in like upcoming lectures it will make more sense.
No, it will make sense today only. Don't worry.
Okay.
It will make sense today only. Okay. We'll make sure that it makes sense today only. Yes, Velen, you were asking something, please.
Yeah, can we create another function, say multiplication, and then call the calculate method and pass that multiplication function?
Yes, you can do that. So I can say multiply. This is what we did yesterday, right? Which is you can say AB, and I will say A into B. Multiply is getting called. So what you can do is just simply say multiply here. Okay, no worries, Shailesh. Yeah, well, so
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
you got the answer. Okay, great. Okay, now okay, coming back to our point, right? Okay, so what I'm saying is see here, right? Okay, so what I was saying is let me just comment this out. So we have calculate 2, 3, Sum here, right? Sum here. Now, what is happening here is you're receiving this, right? Sum here, right? As a function. And let's say I write the line console log, let's say first line. Let's say I'm writing something like this, first line. Then I'm writing one more line, let's say console.log, second line. Okay, second line. Now, if I run this code now, can someone tell me what will happen now? What output should I see? I should see only what? First line and second line, right?
First line and second line.
Because sum is not getting called, right? So let's run this
Yes.
first line, second line. Okay. Now I am in a good mood, and what I will do is I will, let's say, put it on the first line, right? So if I do it here, because this is my will, I feel like doing it, so I'm placing it here, right? So what will happen now? What output should I see? If I make the invocation now,
Sum is getting called.
Sum is getting called and then first line, second line.
okay, great. So let's run this. Sum is getting called, first line, second line, right? Okay, great. Now I feel like, okay, this is not the right place, and I will call it here. What you will see?
First line, then sum is getting called, second line.
Second line, right? So
Yes.
I hope you're understanding the point. The point is
Yes.
callback is as per my discretion, right? Whenever I feel like, I will call it. Now the third part, let's say I can use it and place it here also, right? And then maybe I can decide not to call it altogether, right? Sum is getting called, right? Or okay, yeah, Rajesh, please. Yes, Rajesh.
Uh, so basically, as you said, like callback functions is like when we need to call it, right? The functions in another function.
The
So,
exact definition is callback functions are those functions which are passed as an argument to another function, right? Okay. And so that so those functions which are passed, right, are called the callback function, right? And the what I'm trying to explain now is that the callback functions are at the mercy of the user, right? I mean, to the function, right, where they have been passed on. So it is up to calculate function to decide when they will feel like they can make a call. Okay. Now, yeah, please continue questions.
Then, sir, what is the actual advantage of callback functions? Why we're using it? So, because we want to call a function to another function inside of the functions, it is the main advantage or what, sir?
Okay. Okay. So okay. To answer this query, right? I think okay. See, JavaScript, right, is known for handling the asynchronous operations, right? Right. And using this callback functions, right, is the first step towards it. Okay, is the first step towards that understanding. Okay, it will not make a lot of sense as of today, right? And I cannot even explain it in today's class, like why you will see a difference here. But I am still to explain the original example which I was doing here, right? So I think with this, once I complete this, you will get that answer, right? But I would just wait for half an hour more. You will get the answer, right? At least as per that example. Okay.
Okay. Have you completed async sync in our
No,
classes?
no, no. I have not. I have not. Rajesh joined today only, so he doesn't know like what all we have covered. So we have not covered async of it. Okay. We are very far from it. Okay. We are very far from it. This week it will not happen. Next week it will not happen. After that, it might happen.
Okay. Sir. Thank you. Please continue.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So again, now the last part, right, to the callback. So okay, how many times I can call this function? This is a callback function which I'm receiving. Sorry, someone said what?
Multiple times.
Multiple times, right? I can decide to not even call it once. I can decide to call it once, and I can decide to call it multiple times whatever I feel like, right? I can do this again. I can keep doing this, right? So what will happen is, let's run this. What will you see? Sum is getting called, sum is getting called, sum is getting called, right? So if you understand the point, right? Again, I'm saying, right, this is as per the will of this function to decide when to make a call. Okay, you understanding the point, right? If I would have done, let's say currently I'm using it through the callback thing, right? Callback thing. So here this is as per the description of this method. But let's say I would have to write something like this, like first line, second line, and this, right? I mean, this is the output which I expect, that I want to do something like this: first line, second line, and then this, right? So I could do something like this also, right? I can say, uh, I'm not calling it, right? So I can also do this part. Sum, right? Sum 2, 3. As a user, right? As a user, if I call this, try to understand. I'm passing some here, but I'm not using it. So what will happen here is, okay, I'm using it. Just a comment it out, right? What will happen is first line, second line will be printed, and then this will be printed, right? Okay, this will be printed. First line, second line, and sum is getting called. Okay, now, so again, my point here is that it is, if I leave the control to the user, like me, right? I decide what to do, right? But when I give the control to other functions to call my function, right, I am at the mercy of that function. When whatever he feels like, he will do, right? And this is what the callback function is all about, right? So here again, let me just repeat, who is the callback function here in this approach? Sum is the callback function,
Some.
right? So please remember this, right? What I just explained. Now coming back to our original example, this part. Now let's see, like, can we achieve this thing, right, by the callback part? Okay, so help me. Let me just comment this out. Let me do one thing. Let's not disturb this part. Let me get another file. Day8.2.js. And what I'll do is I'll open the right script. Open to the side. Let's close this. Let's close this, and let's bring this out. And I will call these methods. I will just copy this and bring them here, right? Now you have seen, right, how a user will do it like one by one, right? If they wanted to do in sequence, right? There is no callback thing here, right? You can understand this is just a normal input which I'm providing. I'm not calling a function inside this, right? Now let's say I want to do this using the callback approach, right? So what I told you, if I want to, let's say okay, how does my workflow start? My workflow starts by saying what? Call the search item, right? This is my workflow. So what I'll do here is, sorry, here, right? What I will do here is, I will say search item, right? I will say search item. Okay, and search item, I will provide the input. Let's say iPhone, right? iPhone. Okay, I provided the iPhone. Now let's say what I want to do is, the starting point is what? Search item, right? And the next item is what I want to call is add to cart, right? So will it not be good if I can say somehow, right, after getting the item here, right, instead of returning it, if I'll say constant item ID equals to this, right? I get this ID, and somehow I'm able to call the function here, add to cart. Any problem with this part, with this approach?
No.
No.
We can do this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I can do this, right? Now, okay. So let's do one thing. I'm taking the approach of passing a function. Okay. I'm taking the approach of passing the function. What I'll do is fn. Okay. The right word, right, which you will see in a lot of places is, they call it as CB, which is callback. Okay. So I mean, just an acronym. You type anything which you feel like. So what I should supposed to do now? I am saying that I am will be passing one function to this function, right, as an argument, which is CB, and whatever that function is, I will provide the item ID to it. This is what it means, right, everyone?
Yes.
Others, please. Is it like you're not understanding or what? Or everyone agrees, right? Or no?
Don't we need to pass in search item call, yeah, comma
Yes,
the
yes,
function.
yes. We'll do this part, right? We'll do this thing. Now, does it make sense?
And yes, now it makes sense.
It makes sense, right? Everyone, it makes sense, right? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, okay, so we are good with this, right? We understand, like, so now tell me, right? Ignore these two right of now, right? Let's ignore these two. Ignore these two. And try to tell me, if I see this right, you can see as a user, I'm calling what? I'm just initiating the process. I'm saying search item, right? I'm saying search item. And I'm providing the text to it, which item to be searched. The item would be searched, and I will receive an item ID, let's say through an API or some dummy value, right? I receive the value, and then I'm calling what? I'm calling this function, the callback function. So who's the callback function in this approach right now? What is
Add
the
to
call?
cart.
Add to cart, right? Add to
Add to
cart.
cart.
Add to cart is my callback function, right? Right. And now, if I do it above, right? Does it make sense? No, right? Because item ID will be calculated later, right? Item ID is calculated in the next line, so it will not make sense, right? So we have to be careful, right? Where we are placing, where we are calling this, right? Again, we have to depend on the mercy of the function here, right? Search item. If search item does not wants to call it, right, they can skip it. So what will happen is there is no use of this add to cart, right? We are just doing this part, right? Okay. I mean, just explaining the point, right, which I was making earlier. Or if I want to call it multiple times, yes, you can still do it. Keep on doing it, right? So try to understand, right? In the earlier approach, what I was doing, since I knew the flow, so I was calling it one time only, right? Only one time. But I was taking the pain of understanding the entire flow, right? And making sure like they are called in sequence and all that, right? Or here, right, what I can do is, if I want to, if let's say I had a logic where this could be called as the first line of this function, then this is on me, right? That I'm calling this way, right? But in my sequence here, it will only work search item and then only add to cart. But here you can see, although I'm calling search item, but what really is happening? The function is getting called, the callback function is getting called, and this will get triggered. Okay. So again, the point here is that you have to understand, right? Whenever you pass a function as an argument to another function, it lives on the mercy of this function, right? Okay. Now this function will decide what will happen to this function. Will it be called? Will it not be called? How many times it will be called? Where it will be called? Okay. I think enough of this. I think you understand this part, right? Okay. let me move ahead, right? Now let's complicate this further. We have done only two methods here, right? Search item and add to cart. What about the other things? After add to cart, or cart also, right? I have to do what? After add to cart, what I have to do? Anyone?
Okay.
Yeah,
Check out
keep
cart.
checkout.
Check out cart, right? I have to do this. So let me just bring this into the picture now. I want to call this, right? Okay. So let me just do it this way. Again, let me just place it here, right? I will do something like this. As of now, see this, right? Add to cart I'm doing, right? And let's say come back to this part, right? Add to cart. What add to cart will do is, let's say after this operation, I need to call this method, right? And this needs this card ID. So what I'll do is I'll return the remove, and I will say const cart ID equals to this. Okay. And what I can do is I can call this function here. Again, agree. I hope you agree, right, everyone?
Yes.
I can do this, right? And let me bring this also into the picture now. If I want to do the same stuff here also, I can do the same stuff this here also, right? I can say const this is checkout ID. Checkout ID equals to this ID, and I will do what? I can say make payment checkout ID, right? I hope everyone agrees, right? I can do this, and let's bring the, so this is without doing the callback, right? This is without doing the callback, right? So this is as per me, right? I am defining what method would be called, right, as a user. But if I give the function here, right, the callback approach, then I can pass add to item, I can pass sum, I can pass multiply, whatever I feel like, right? So let's do that part. So I'll now take the approach of the callback. So I'm saying callback here. You're calling search item, right? You're calling search item and you're saying phone and you're passing add to cart here, right? Now when the add to cart will be called, you need to provide item ID. And here what you will do is, what should I pass here? What method I have to call here?
CB. CB.
CB. CB is the acronym, right? Just a name, right? Which I'm giving. So what should I pass here, right? So that that particular function gets called.
Okay.
Add to cart.
Add to
Sorry. Checkout.
Checkout cart, right? Checkout cart, right? Now what will happen is, try to understand the flow. I'm making just this invocation, right? Search item. Search item, I'm providing the input of the string name, right? And I'm telling that I'm also providing your function, right? To call that as per your wish. So it said, okay, I'll do that. So the control moved here, right? It received iPhone here. It received add to cart here, right? And now it printed this line. It found the item ID, and now it decided, okay, I will now call that callback function. So what was CB here? Let me copy this and I will place it here. Correct? And now what I'm trying to call is add to cart function, right? So add to cart function needs two inputs now, item ID and again one more function. So because it internally also wants to call another function, right? So I'm providing item ID from here, which I calculated in search item, right? And then I'm passing here the function which it should call, which is checkout, right? So what will happen now? After line number 5, what will happen? The control will move to which line? From line number 5, the control will move to which line?
8.
8, right? 8 line, because this is what I passed in CB, and you're calling CB. So what is this? Add to cart. You're providing item ID, so this will be getting called. So what are you receiving in item ID? You're receiving this thing, right? Correct?
Yes.
And what are you receiving in CB?
Checkout
card.
card.
Checkout cart, right? Which is defined here, right? You're calling this. Now what will happen now is, it will receive checkout cart. Now what will happen is, this function is getting called, so this will get printed. It will find the cart ID, and now it wants to call the function. So CB was what? Checkout cart, right? So checkout cart will be called, and you're passing cart ID to it. Okay. So, but I also want to call this, right? So again, I will use the concept of callback function. I will say CB, right? And I will do what here? Okay, I should
make payment. Should call make payment.
Yeah, make payment, right? Make payment. Yes, make payment. Absolutely correct. Right. So here, so now again, search item control move to here. It ran all this. It found the item ID, and then it called this function, right, which is add to cart, right? And it provided the item ID to it, and checkout cart to tell them, okay, what function it should call after this. Okay. So it ran this. It found the cart ID, and it called which function? Checkout cart, which is this function, right? And it provided the cart ID to it and the function to it. So now this will be found and done, and now it will call the make payment method, and it will providing checkout ID, right? And you can see here you're returning the return payment generated is this, right? Okay, if you want to do this, you can do that. Okay, let me do this, right? Let me run this now. Does the flow make sense, right? How we are calling?
Yes.
Let me first run it, right? And I will do one more thing then, okay? Let's just bring it up. Let me clean it up. Let's run this. Does everyone see this? This is an output of this file. Is it same as the earlier one or no? This is same as earlier one also, right? I mean, the one which we did earlier.
Same.
So you can see there are two ways to work on the same part, right? In JavaScript. But try to understand from the user perspective, what as a user I have to do. Let's say these are the functions given to me by the developers, right? And I am a client. Okay, I am a client. So what I have to do is I have to just remember calling this function, right? I do not care what these functions are internally doing. What I intend to understand is that my workflow should get created and the payment should also get made, right? That is the workflow. But in this case, I have to take care of everything. I have to understand what is the flow, how the thing should go in sequence, and what should come after one thing, right? But here, this is all taken care by the developers because of the power of the callbacks, right? They are deciding what to call, what not to call, and I have to just initiate this part. Okay, is it making sense? No. Okay, let me just change some names,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Let me make some change. I'm sure it's not very in day one. I'm not expecting, right, everyone to understand on day one, but what I'm at least expecting is that you will go back and practice. What I see is that not a lot of people have went yesterday and practiced this. The people who have practiced are understanding like what I'm saying here. I told you yesterday that this is would be required, right? Okay, no worries. You still have, right? You still have days here, right? In this week, please practice because this is the most crucial part of JavaScript. So now I hope this will make sense. See here, what I have done is I have just renamed these two other things, right? Function 1, function 3. Now try to understand. Let me copy it. Okay, let's just understand, but let's just run this to make sure it runs. Bring this up. You can see it works, right? Let me bring it to our board. Okay, so over here, let's try to understand what is happening. Let's say this is line 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right? So what will happen first of all? Line number 20 will get executed. Once you run this, what will get
Yes.
called? The control will move from line number 20 to what? Line
One.
number 1.
One.
Okay. So the control is moving from here to
One.
here, right? What are you receiving an item name? Tell me. You're receiving iPhone, right?
iPhone. Yes.
iPhone. You received iPhone.
Hmm.
And what did you are receiving in function 1? Add to cart.
Add to cart.
So what are you receiving here? It is like you're receiving the entire line number 6 to 10 here, right? You're
Yes.
receiving that part. Agree everyone? You're receiving this only, right?
Yeah.
The entire thing. 6 to 10, let me say, right? You're receiving this 6 to 10 line number. Okay. Now what you did, you this will get started executing, right? So this get printed. So you saw this thing, right? Searching item. You saw this in the output console. This is my output console, let's say. So you saw searching item iPhone, right?
iPhone.
So you got this output here. Now what happens next is you're creating a variable item ID and you are storing this value into the item ID, right? Item ID. So this is a
Yes.
new variable which you're creating here.
Hmm.
And then you're doing what? You're passing. And now at line number 4, you're doing what? You're saying fn1. What was fn1?
Add to
fn1 was
cart.
this one, right?
Add to
This
cart.
entire thing. So you're calling this method, right? Add to cart. So it is like this. You're calling add to cart and you're providing item ID, the thing which you calculated here, right? You're passing it here, right? And the second thing which you're passing is the checkout cart. What is checkout cart? Which is this thing. So now you're passing what? You're passing line number 11 to 15 here, right? Something like this, the entire function. So what you got is you got 11 to 15 line number here. Right? Now, as soon as you did this, right, the control, once this gets called, right, you're calling a function. So what will happen now because of this? The control, it will go under this method now, right, and start running this. Agree? It will go inside this
Yes.
function, right?
Yes.
Add to cart. Add to cart, item ID received this input, right, to this, which is this value, and function to receive this entire function, right, in here, right, line number 11 to 15. Okay, you received it here. Now what will happen? Line number 7 gets executed and you print adding item with IDs, and you're printing the item ID and all, right, all the information here. and then you're creating a new variable called cart ID. Okay, cart ID, and cart ID, you're getting this value. So what are you calling now? At line number 9, you're calling fn2. What was fn2? Fn2 was line number 11 to 15, which was this method, right?
Checkout.
11 to
Checkout.
15, right? So what will happen is fn2 is calling this method, right? Cart ID is,
Storing the value.
sorry, fn2 is calling this only, right? What is fn2 here? Fn2 is this part, right? 11 to 15 line number, which is this part, right? No?
Yes.
Yes, yes, Shekar.
Right? So this is what you got here, right? So this is getting called cart ID, right? You generated this as a cart ID. So you're passing this here, right? Into the cart ID. What is make payment? Now you're passing what? Line number 16 to 19 here, right? Line number 16 to 19 here. Okay. So now this will get called. Now at line number 12, what will happen is this will print this. Checking out items, right? Whatever that output is, it will print this. And now it is creating a new variable called checkout ID, right? What was fn3? 11, 16 to 19 line, right? Which is make payment, right? We are providing make payment here because this is what you have mentioned here, right? Make payment. So make payment is getting called at line number 14. And line number 14, you're providing checkout ID, this part, right? So this gets valued here, and this gets, it calls this method, right? fn3 is calling this method, and checkout ID is being passed to this. And it prints me this output, right? Making payment. Okay, and this is how things are running. Okay, so for search item, who is the callback function?
Add to
Add to
cart.
cart,
Add
right?
to cart.
So for search item, who's the callback function? Add to cart. For add to cart, who is the function? Who is the callback function? The one which it will receive, right? And you're receiving which function?
Checkout cart.
Checkout cart, right? Checkout cart. For checkout cart, what is your callback function?
Make payment.
Make payment.
Payment.
Make payment. And make payment is not calling anyone, right? It is not calling anyone, right? So here your chain of calling the functions, the callback function stops. This is a chain, right? This is a chain. You initiated the search item first of all, right? Search item. Search item internally called add to cart. Add to cart internally called checkout cart. Checkout cart internally called make payment, right? And this is what things are happening in this way. Okay. Again, if you understand the chronology, right, in which we understood things, I just first of all we started saying that we have three different types of functions, so we learned all three functions. Then I told you that there is a concept of higher order function, which it has a concept that you can pass a function as an argument to another function. So we learned that thing yesterday, right? And now I'm telling you the use case of it, right? And there's because the use case is so much huge of that second point, that it has its own name, right? Callback functions, right? It is called as a callback function because there you get it is as per the will of the programmer. When the function which they are receiving, right, whatever they want to do with that, right, they can do. Whether they want to call it, they don't want to call it, they can't call it. They want to call it at line number 1000 after doing 90 different other tasks. They want to call it at after the time, they can. If they want to call it at 10th position, they can do that. So this is all on their discretion. Okay. And why callback? Because I just explained the literal meaning of callback. You decide when you will make a callback to that agent, right? Okay, there's a lot of silence today, but okay, right? But again, please mark my words, right? Please practice this, right? Revise these three classes, right? The Monday one, the yesterday's and today's, right? And do it in sequence. It will make a lot of sense. Okay, it will start making a lot of sense, right? Okay, I'll stop. Please, if someone has any query, and please don't feel like you're asking silly questions. Whatever questions you have, please ask.
To ask the questions, I have to rewatch this video. I mean, like when it will be shared.
Okay. So Harsh, you were able to do the stuff yesterday, right?
Yes, yes. I understood the logic, like how we are calling every function in the method itself. So, but like I need to practice. So after
Hmm.
practice, I will have some questions, then I will ask.
Yeah, please make practice, right? I told you in the beginning of the bootcamp, right? Please devote this 1 month, right, at least to JavaScript. This is the most challenging part, right? And the topics which you're learning right now are the backbone of JavaScript. Okay. Even next week is going to be very challenging, right? I mean, it's not challenging again, but it would be very a very deep understanding of JavaScript. So please be prepared for it. Okay. And I would suggest, right? Please spend whatever time we have in the week, right, on functions, just on functions, right? I want everyone to be very good on the function side by this weekend. Okay. Uh, Friday, right? I might not take the class. Okay. I will inform in the group. So if you would see, you will still have 3 days, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I hope for a lot of people, Friday is already off. So you will get a lot of time that day also, right? It's grown. I think there is something Guru Nanak Dev Ji birthday or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But there is a holiday, right? So I'm sure a lot of offices are off. So please use the time to practice all of this. Okay? Saturday, Sunday, and all that, right? Tomorrow I will see, right, what I will cover. But from the function side, right, the first lot of discussion is over from my side. I wanted to cover all of this, and this is where we are today. Okay, I'm not going to cover anything else on the functions as of now. Tomorrow I will see like what I will cover. I had a plan to cover arrays and objects and strings in detail. So let's see what will make sense. I'll cover that part. And debugging also, right? JavaScript, we have to learn how to debug our code. It will help. It will really help a lot of people to understand the code better. So I might even do that yesterday, tomorrow. Okay, so okay, okay, nothing else from my side. If you have any queries, please ask. Otherwise, we're good to call it close. I mean, the call today.
No queries.
So queries, okay. Let me ask actually one by one. Just if we have time, right? Hassan, right? Hassan, did you understood this concept, or do you have any queries, or you will practice and come back?
Yeah, Akhil, I will have to practice it. I will come
Okay.
back to it.
Okay, please find some time today, right? Because you can use today's time to just to practice yesterday's. Just practice one thing, right? How do you pass one function into another function? Let's practice this part and come back to on this callback part. Okay, and I think it
Okay.
will make sense, right? Okay, okay, yeah, please do that. uh yeah, any other query you have? No. Okay, great. Yeah, Harika, how about you? Are we practicing JavaScript? Yeah, Aparna, please. Okay, Harika, I don't know, this is not here. Well then, is everything clear?
Yes, yes, okay.
Okay, okay. Aparna, I'm okay. Okay, fine. Harsh told Anand, I think you need to practice, right?
Oh yes, Akhil. Quite caught up with some office priorities, but yeah, I understood the concept.
Hmm.
And definitely I'll be coming back with some good practice.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. One thing, right? Has anyone given any interviews on JavaScript?
No, for me,
No.
it's the first time I'm
Yeah,
giving.
I think
I have given recent.
Harsh has given, right?
Yes.
Anyone else who has given the interviews on JavaScript? No. Harsh, in your interviews, did someone ask you about callback?
No, mostly they asked about like the testing tools which I was using, and they gave some problems like write a code in JavaScript like to reverse a string or duplicate element, count the duplicate element.
They don't ask you concepts around like what is let, const, and where, how they are different, what is
Yeah,
hoisting, what
one
is callback function. No.
one of the interview did ask like let, where, and const difference between them. But
Okay.
mostly they were like related to testing, like Playwright tool and Selenium. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Again, because that is what they know. All right. As I was
Yeah.
saying on that day. Okay, fine. Right. So, okay, no worries. See, there is a very popular question in callback, all right, which they ask. I don't know, like if someone has faced it, but since you're saying you have not, there is one inbuilt function, right? You can see, right? I just created those functions by myself, right? All these functions, right? I created these kind of structures by myself, right? Because these are like custom functions which I created. But there are some inbuilt functions which JavaScript provides, which are already there, right? Which already works like a callback thing, right? Let me give you one example of it. Okay, let me create one more file and show you. You will understand, right? Okay, do you understand in Java, right? If I want to, let's say, I want to wait for a page to load, right? If I want to wait for a page to load, let's say for 5 seconds, what do I do?
We put implicit wait.
Okay, now don't give me the answer from Selenium, right? Let's say I don't know Selenium. Give me the answer from Java. What will I do?
Thread dot sleep.
Timeout dot sleep.
What does thread dot sleep does?
It hold the operation for that particular time.
Okay, 5 seconds. Let's say you want to wait for 5 seconds, so you will say thread dot sleep 5,000. I think you will fill it there, right?
Yes.
And it will wait for that much time, right?
Yes.
Okay. And why does it do that? Because Java by default works in a single threaded application. So what you're saying here is you're asking the thread to sleep, go and sleep, right, for 5 seconds and do nothing, right? So it's the way in which Java works that way, right? So if I ask people, right, to wait for 5 seconds and do nothing, right, in JavaScript, how will we do it? And let's say I'm saying just after 5 minutes, right, 5 seconds, print my name. Okay, let's say call a function. How will I do it? How will I do that part? This is a very important interview question again, right? And it is just the basic of it. They transform it, they change it into multiple things, and then ask. I'm very straightforwardly asking, how will you stop the execution for 5 seconds in JavaScript using JavaScript code only?
I think it's set timeout or something.
Okay, Kiran, you joined right now, or you were there?
Actually, I joined late. I have office call.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. So again, I will ask you the same question. Have you already set for any JavaScript interviews?
No. Actually, I was watching some of the videos and I saw that.
Okay. So you took the right name. There is an inbuilt method, right, which we have, which is the name of SetTimeOut. Okay. Now let's see the power of it, right? And I want to show that it's not me who is explaining callback, right? There are methods inbuilt in JavaScript which works with the concept of callbacks only. Okay. So let's do this. So 3.js. But I don't remember the entire syntax, but let's try. So there is a method called SetTimeOut. You see here, SetTimeOut, time handler, timeout, and all, right? And it takes this, right? Okay. So what I'll do is, let me create one function first. I'll create a function, and I want to do what? I wanted to print my name, right? So I'll say function print name, and I will say console.log, and I will say my name is. Okay, I'm in a habit of double quotes, so sorry for that. It should be stamped strings only, always. Okay, never mind, right? So this is what I gave, right? And what is the input? Timeout and this, right? So handler and all that. So okay, I need to provide print name here, I believe, and then I have to say 5,000. Oh, for the 5,000, right? Okay, let's try to run this and see what happens. Okay, you can see, right? It is running the code, and the output I have not seen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It took 5 seconds. It almost took 5 seconds, right, to print this, right? It's not.
Yes.
It's not like you did there and it worked, right? It's not prompt. It took some time, at least 5 seconds, I believe, right? So let's try it again. What is happening here? Just a second. It is running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You got it, right? My name is Akhil. So it printed. Now think of it like what is happening with this, right? What it would be doing. I gave print name, right? So you can understand that internally it might have made a call to this function, right, everyone? Otherwise, how will this get
Yeah.
printed? Right? Otherwise, how will it get printed? So what is happening here is what the set timeout, right, has been done. Let me see if I can see the implementation of it. Okay, I can't see the implementation. It is on there. Okay, I'll leave it. I'll throw it. So what is here is doing, try to understand. It is, let me create a dummy set timeout, right? Try to understand what it is doing internally. Set timeout. The developer of this function, right? They would have done it like this. They would have said, okay, that someone will provide me a function which they would like me to call, okay, right? And they will also give me a timeout. Okay, they will also give me a timeout, a time, right? Time frame. Okay, and what I will do here is I will wait for the timeout, right? Whatever they have specified, right? So there is a logic, right, which they would have placed in where they will do nothing and they will sit idle, right? How they do it, I don't remember the logic, what they do inside it, but they will wait, right, for that much time, whatever time you specify. And once this time is over, right, now what they will do is they will just simply use this and call it as is. You understand the point here, right? This is the callback function, right, which is getting called, right? In my case, you can see what would have happened is the input is this, both the inputs are received, let's say, right, into the original function the developer would have created. So this f1 received that function name, right, and this timeout received the time frame which it should run, right? So here it waited for the time. It would have the logic to wait for that much time, and then once the wait was over, it will go and run this. So here I am making sure that my function is or the particular thing, right, gets called only after a certain time. Okay, and this is what set timeout is, right? You're setting a time, and once that time gets over, you call the function. Okay, and it is using more in a lot of places, this function, right? But what I wanted to depict here is that it is using the concept of callback. Okay. Okay, I don't know why people are so silent today, but maybe it's too much, but fine, right? Like I'll not cover more. I'll stop it. Okay, Gunjesh, are you practicing?
Yes, Akhil, but I'm two classes behind at least.
Man, practice, right? Next week it will be too much then. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Please
get up.
make sure everyone, right? I'm saying that you will have 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which you will not have classes, right? If you're not able to make time today also, I understand it's an office hours. So, but please find out time this week for sure, right? And cover the functional part, right? Okay, during this week. Who's here? Let me just see. I think Kanishk is here. Kavya, how is your practice going on? Kavya Raja. Okay. Chetan, if you can hear me. No? Okay. Who is left? Kunjay, Sharika, Anand, Amrendra. Amrendra, you practiced the JavaScript part, the thing which I gave yesterday?
Yeah, Akhil, yesterday part I did not complete, but I will make sure to complete it by this Friday.
Yeah, please find time. Otherwise, this will pile up, right? I'm more worried about that part. JavaScript should not pile up, right, on anyone.
Yeah.
We are not doing a lot of topics in a day. We are just doing simple topics, and I'm making sure that we are going slow. Okay.
Yes.
Please use the time of this week to cover whatever we have covered, at least for this week, at least, because these are again the backbone of the JavaScript. Okay. Okay. If no other queries, let's wind it up for today. Let's meet tomorrow. Okay. And come up with your queries, right, please. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Akhil.
Akhil. Bye. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.